going on, you guys? This is the podcast for Been Quiet for Too Long with Tim Williams and my beautiful wife as my guest today, Megan Williams.
Megan.
Okay, with this particular podcast, we're gonna be talking about the various relationships or various different relationships. Some that you want in your life, some that you don't want in your life, and I'm gonna be asking you a series of questions, or we're gonna have a conversation rather, about relationships. Whether it's friends, family, associates.
I would say friends and family because relationships would be something to speak on a different day because that's more in depth.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, yeah. To me, I mean, that's just my opinion. Like, relationships require much more in depthness.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm not saying friendships and family don't, but I mean, family could be a hard one too. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But mainly speaking on experience of friendships because it's a lot of experience there.
So what is we gonna be speaking about the positive and the negative aspects of relationships.
Yeah. The type that you should and shouldn't want for 2024.
So, and speaking on 2024, the ones that you do want for 20, do and don't want for 2024. How was the relationship that you had in 2023?
2023 was still like for me. I still had a lot that was sliding off.
Yeah.
To be honest, like some that was just kind of fading, falling off or whatever.
Yeah.
And me kind of getting to the point of not really fighting for certain things, not fighting for relationships, not, just like just letting them fall away naturally on their own. That's really from all the way from 2021 to 2023, it's just been a series of falling off. But that's to be expected because you can't pray to God and ask Him to remove anybody that's not in your life or not anybody that's not going to benefit you or, God revealed to me like this person or that person. You can't pray that prayer and expect it to just him to be like, okay, I've been waiting to do this for you, so let me go on and do this for you. But you got to be ready for it because when he do it, it's gonna be people you wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happened.
I was just about to bring it up about the falling off of the relationship. Like, how did you get to that point? But the more important question I want to ask is, how is it when you don't want to fight for a relationship?
When you for me, I can't speak on anyone else. For me, it's a thing of, I started, like, I went through like a fog for a minute, like, when I lost my dad in 2016. And, I went through a fog of, I put my reliance on people and things of that nature, relationships, because, how my family is set up. Yeah. So it's like I put more emphasis on, friends and wanting the right people in my life and yada, 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 this and that and yada, yada, yada. But when COVID happened, a lot of people didn't like COVID.
Right.
I liked it, COVID. COVID is actually what brought, I'm not saying I liked, you're not saying the whole it killing people or anything like that. Yeah. Not saying that. I'm saying COVID actually slowed everything down. So COVID, once it started slowing things down, I can't, you at that time, you can't really just jump and go meet this person like that. Yeah. Everything's closed. Yeah. So that's what kind of drove some people up the wall, is because it's like I didn't, it's like what you relied on at one point, you can't rely on that. Right. Because people look for a simple fix. Mm-hmm. That quick fix wears off. That's the reason why a person that gets high all the time, they're still chasing that first high, and you're never going to get that again. Right. So you're constantly high, you're constantly drinking because you're liking the fact that it's keeping you from thinking about the things you don't want to think about. Right. And that's where addiction comes in. So you become addicted in a sense of learning to suppress your emotions. You jump and, oh, I don't want to beat myself. Let me go to the store. Now you don't end up buying a whole bunch of stuff. Your credit card's maxed out.
Right.
So that's the type of things like COVID slowed all that down. And when I started realizing like, okay, I started piecing myself back together. Or I started like piecing together like some things like, I've been doing this with these people. That ain't really how I am.
Right.
So once I started doing that and started revealing the pieces that was really me, that's when it started being like a type thing. Like it was like the connection and bond wasn't the same.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a thing of I get that saying where they say people can benefit from your brokenness.
Right.
But when you actually want to heal and when you want to do better or sit with it and kind of heal that aspect, it's like
yeah.
So that means it's like you're not gonna go with me. But it started slowly being like a pull away because I started sitting with myself. I started sitting and realizing like you pay attention to comments made, you pay attention to interactions and stuff like that. Why? Because you don't have any interactions now.
Right.
Now you're by yourself. So now I'm thinking about the little comments you made and I'm like, you've made that more than once.
Yeah.
What's really going on?
Right.
Are you really do you really feel this way about me or do you feel like this?
Yeah.
Because your actions don't completely align with this.
Right.
So that's when it started happening. And then around that time I was coming off my New Age hiatus. I went to doing New Age for a couple of years and that really didn't land me nowhere. But full of anxiety. So I started back reading the Bible. What was it? December of 2021. I was like, this has to cut it. Like, I can't keep doing the same thing. Like, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing these New Age rituals. Nothing's coming of it.
Right.
So I remember running across my dad's Bible, and then I found my Bible, and I just started back reading. So for the month of December, the first book of the Bible that I read was Proverbs. So I read Proverbs, ran across a few scriptures about friends. That's when I prayed again about, okay, God, I'm ready to return back to what I grew up on, which was the Bible.
Yeah.
So let me go and let me start back reading the Bible. So I got on the goose chase of finding my right Bible, which I wanted an Interlead Journaling Bible. Got quite a few of those. Quite a few. But yeah, and then I prayed the infamous prayer of remove anybody that doesn't make me any good. He's heard conversations you haven't heard.
Right.
He's seen conversations. He actually knows something that we can't see, and that's the heart. So even though this person may be sitting here buying you all these gifts of trying to help you through your grief or whatever, he can see deep down in their heart it's not coming from a genuine place. Whereas me on the outside, I'm thinking it's coming from a genuine place.
Right.
So he knows things and see things that you don't see. So when you pray that prayer, you got to be ready for it because the people are going to fall off. Okay. And it's going to be people that you probably more than likely wanted to stay.
Right. So basically you would say that God was more like your guiding light.
He was. He was the one who, and the thing is, in the past I used to pray that prayer too, because it was a scenario where it was a particular person I really wanted to be friends with, and every time, I'm thinking like, yeah, found a great female bond and everything, or whatever the case might be, and it's like every time I pray that, because just something wasn't right with it, and that was another thing I'm still working on too, is the fact of God he do put that discernment in you.
Right.
Some people can discern, they have different gifts, but one of the things that I have put aside is my discernment.
Right.
something I've always been able to do is kind of discern like something ain't right with this person, this situation, yada yada yada. I haven't ever been wrong, but I make myself wrong because I go against it.
Yeah.
So I end up wrong. So every time I'd be like, I'd pray that prayer, but then when me and this person end up in a spat or a dispute or something, I watch them run and tell people stuff I may have said, may or may not have said about them, and I'm watching everybody believe it.
Yeah.
So everybody's looking at me like I'm this bad person that talks crap about everybody behind their back, but no one looked at the fact of I had to be talking to somebody.
Yeah.
So what was you saying?
Right.
But the whole time, every time we'll get into it, I didn't ever run and tell nobody what she had said about them and how the conversation really went. So I'm watching everybody pull away from me, not wanting to deal with me, being petty and stuff like that. And this, keep in mind, this is even on a job.
Right.
So on a job, this is happening.
Right.
So I bypassed it or whatever, and you know, I let it slide. But that was when I realized how powerful that prayer was. Like when you pray that. So I knew once I started back reading the Bible, started back praying that, I knew something was gonna happen, but I was prepared for it in a sense.
Yeah.
Why? Because all this time sitting, you know, antisocial, can't really be around these people like that. It's like all of a sudden, it's like conversations are starting to replay in my head. I'm starting to think about the comments that was made that I bypassed, the comments that made me side-eye, but kind of like, you know, I'm gonna let it slide. They probably didn't mean nothing by it. It might just be me and how I am with female relationships. It might just be me.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was. No, if you feel like somebody got a problem with you or it's something going on deep down, God isn't giving you that baby food for a reason.
Right.
He set that little jar of baby food there and put the spoon in there. You got to pick it up and feed it to yourself.
Right.
You're that grown to where you can do that. So, yeah, I started pinpointing like, okay, these comments, they were repetitive comments on the flip side.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you feel some type of way.
Right.
So that's when it started clicking and registering to me.
Okay. So I know we in the beginning half of January.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, are you back at square one with
square one?
And how you feeling so far about it?
I mean, I'm feeling hopeful. I feel like the right people will come along. Like the right types of, with the path that I'm going down, I feel like the right friendships will come along. The right people will come along. Like, you know, I'm not in a negative space as I once were about it. But the negative space I was in about it is because it was mainly because of me. Like I was kind of beating myself up. Like it was God revealing it to me then. But I was so involved in doing New Age and relying on tarot cards and all that stuff to when he basically had the baby food sitting there. That's just like the food is sitting there, you know, a child start grasping stuff maybe like 6 months or so.
Right.
When you start feeding that child baby food, they start from watching you, they start getting the motion of how to feed themselves. Mm-hmm. So that's just like me sitting in a high chair. I know how to feed myself. I'm looking at the food that I can eat, but I'm reaching over here trying to grab the cheeseburger.
Right.
God was slowly throughout that timeline of me bypassing what I was feeling, bypassing some of the things I was seeing with these people. He basically had the baby food sitting there like, all you gotta do is feed yourself.
Right.
I'm giving it's right here in front of you.
Yeah.
You're not ready for that.
Right.
But I had to get ready for that because I chose to reach over and I prayed that prayer. Really so I had to be ready for this burger and I had to be ready to digest like, okay, Megan, you was wrong. Like you was wrong in the fact of, and that's what made me beat myself up because I'm like, the whole time I'm sitting here going against what I felt.
Right. And
God was like, I had it right here for you the whole time.
Right.
I was revealing it to you then.
So would you say you put more of your faith in God in that situation?
I had to. I had to. It didn't start out as me doing that at first, but I had to. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like.
So needless to say, God is real.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Always been real. Why I went down the new age factor, I don't know. It didn't. It left me with no clarity. It left. I mean, that can be a topic for a whole nother day. But doing new age, it just.
So basically, you put your faith more into God. So I'm thinking that you build your relationship with God.
Yep, you have to.
Okay, so that.
I have to touch my Bible, even if it is just to read maybe a paragraph or something. I have to touch it every day.
Because I know for me, God is the number one relationship that we're supposed to have in our life.
Yep.
So.
He even comes before husband, wife.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah. So you know he comes 100% before a friend.
Trust me. So. I take no offense to that.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, God is ultimately the relationship of all relationships that you supposed to have. Even if there's no one else beside you, in front of you, behind you.
And one thing some people got to realize too, he will isolate you too. And I felt like that's what he did for me too. He had to isolate me because he knew if I still was going to be around people, I was going to either feed off of what they say, feed off of them, feed off whatever spirits they have, energy they're giving off. I was going to keep feeding off of that. It wasn't going to ultimately, it wasn't aligning with how my heart really is.
Right.
And then on top of that, I had to think about too, I wasn't really 100% myself.
Right.
With these people. I had to think about that too.
Yeah.
Not saying I was being fake, but it's like I had watered Megan down.
Right.
And it's like when I looked at it, you know how you take a cracker and you get some soup and you crumble that cracker up and you sprinkle it on there. Why not just eat the cracker whole? Why do we do that? So I had to realize like I was that crumbled up cracker in the soup. I'm giving you pieces of me.
You were. Okay.
And some parts of me you don't accept. You don't accept the whole image of me, but you accept those crumbs of me because they fit into what you do and who you are.
Right.
I'm a whole cracker. I'm a whole saltine. So you crumbling me up. You only want pieces of me. So those times where, and it's not saying I didn't try to be myself around these people. I tried. That's how I knew you didn't. That's how I knew what parts of me you didn't really care for.
Right.
You care for the parts of me that's caring. You care for the parts of me that was giving and everything like that. But you didn't really get to the depths of me because I will. I'm not a hard book to read. Like all you got to do is just open up and read it.
I know with a lot of people, they don't really get to know the person for who they are.
Right.
They just know the person for their actions or the way that they move. But
opportunity.
Exactly.
You feel a piece of me that I either want to have or possess, or I can benefit from that from you.
Right.
So it's not like like I genuinely got to know Megan type of thing.
Right.
You got to know pieces of me because the pieces that I was showing you that was legitimately me, you rejected. Right. So now here I am having to water down those pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So that's initially what happened with that too. I had to look at that factor like, could I be 100% goofy around these people? Because I am a goofy person.
Right.
Ultimately, I like to laugh. So, can I just do something stupid or funny, and they laugh, and not feel judged, right? And I couldn't do that.
Right.
So I started peeping like, okay, not very goofy. Not fully. You're not gonna equate with that side. Me, I love to write. I love pens. I love journals. I love the bookstore.
Right.
I've never been to a bookstore not one time with any of them.
Now, with those older relationships, did anybody think that just because you love to write, that was kind of weird? Or?
Some of them they didn't really say it was weird, but it's like a tone that people can kind of get like.
Right.
Oh, okay. Like as if I'm supposed to be like you and be wanting a purse or something of that nature, or shoes or whatever.
Now, how many?
I like shoes. but I love pens.
And let me ask you a question. How many times in not just those relationships per se, but in relationships that you allow somebody to take something that you love away from you because they didn't aesthetically pleased with it?
How many times have I done that?
Yeah.
A lot. In a lot of relationships.
And how many times?
But here's the thing: I'm accepting you for how you are, but some of the things that I do that makes me me, it's like a weird or side eye, or I hear through the grapevine you done talked about it to somebody else, like it's disapproving. So of course, and that's where with me, that's the reason why some people will say like Megan is very guarded.
Yeah.
I'm not guarded. I mean, I'm gonna put it like this: I'm like a book. Like all these books, oh my God, all these books back here that I gotta read this year, hot mess. They're gonna sit there looking like that until I open them.
Right.
I don't know nothing about them other than the title and other what the cover portrayed to me.
Right.
They may be a good book. The cover might be so good, but the inside might have me like, this is a 3-star book. Then I might run across one that has a plain cover and be like, this don't look any good, and get in it and I can't get out of it.
Right.
5 stars.
Right.
So
basically that's like relationship too.
A relationship's like a book.
Yeah, sometimes they judge a book by its cover.
They do.
And sometimes when you do that, you meet a person that you may not be feeling or something like that, but then you get to know them, it's like, oh, I love you.
Exactly. And
vice versa.
And so it's like a thing of, with me, I will open up and tell you things. I don't have a problem telling people stuff. I have a problem with telling the wrong people stuff. Right. Because it's been done too many times. Mm-hmm. I've opened up to the wrong people and it always gets used against me. It's like it's like when I expose my weakness or any type of insecurities or anything, it's used against me.
Yeah.
It's flipped back. Or it's talked about behind my back. So it's like, that's the reason why most people, when they come across me, they be like, you kind of, I've heard this a lot. They either call me the B word, or I'm mean, or I'm this or that. But what you don't know is, underneath it all, I really have a big heart that I'm trying to protect because it's been I've given too many pieces of it to non-factors.
Yeah. Okay.
And I should have kept it.
Now, moving on to 2024, tell me about the type of relationship that I'm pretty sure you ask God to bring into your life. So, I mean, is that something you would be?
If he remove, I know he gonna take it. I know he gonna add back anyway. When he subtract, he gonna add.
Right.
But when he added, this time I'm trusting him with the friendships. I haven't ever done that before.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a type person, I don't like to not love a person.
Right.
So when I love you, I love you.
Right.
I don't just use the word love just for whatever.
Yeah.
When I love you, I love you. And the biggest thing is, I don't like when a person makes me have to change that.
Right.
I don't like having to flip. So that's something I'm learning too. And my boundaries is be prepared for people to potentially change, because you don't, they might be there for a season. Mm-hmm. They're not there for longevity. They might just be there because, okay, in this season you need to work on this, so I'm gonna bring a person along that's like this. Mm-hmm. So I'm learning that too. Like, if a person is there for longevity, they'll just end up being there.
Right.
There's not gonna be no fighting or nothing. God knows what types of friends I need, and the type of friends I need is not gonna steer me from him. Mm-hmm. So,
and I'm glad how you put that. The type of friends you need.
Yeah, it's about type you want, because apparently I've been going by want, and I've been going by wants, and really I'm a person that I don't really judge like that.
Right.
Like, I can have a friend of different calibers. That doesn't bother me.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because I have different layers to me.
Right.
So I want you to accept all them layers. So whatever and that's something else I ran into a lot too. It's like when I'm exposing my deepest feelings, I'm upset or whatever. I started realizing like when they was in any type of, they wasn't really. I run into people that most try to portray like everything's okay, like they just like they not bothered by nothing, like y'all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sweetie, you done been in the dark like me. Let's not act like this.
Everybody have. I don't understand why some people try to cover that up. Like, right. I mean, I understand some people want to be guarded. Some people has been hurt. Some people have been through some things that make them that way. But not everybody is like that.
Right.
You know, the very person that you could be hiding that stuff from could be the very person that could help you.
Right. And me, I'm all about healing something. And there's been times where I've been in a dark place myself. And that's just like an old friend of mine that used to say, man, I didn't even know you was dealing with that as a child.
Yeah.
Why? Because when I would leave and go to school, even though I was in a dark place with my life growing up, I didn't nobody really know what I was going through. Because why? Because we both don't need to be sitting here messed up. So I'm gonna help you some type of way, and somehow it would help me.
Right.
It mainly writing would help me though. Like me just writing. I trust pen and paper.
Right.
Those two have always been my friends. It's pen and paper. Those aren't going nowhere until if I find somebody that accept that I love pen to paper and don't look at it as weird or different or whatever the case might be, then that would be the friend for me, because we both can, and somebody love the bookstore. Because if I can quickly go to nail shops and places to have drinks, if I can go to these places to support what your likes are, take me to the bookstore.
But basically, you want friends that's readers and writers.
I would say they don't necessarily have to be a reader or writer, but at the same time, when you're friends with people and you learn them, you don't discredit a piece of them that's important to them.
Right.
Because, and that's what I realized I was doing in a lot of my friendships, was I was discrediting who I really were.
Right.
So once when COVID happened and slowing down, I was able to start back realizing who Megan is.
Right.
And I started realizing like, well, the version of me you're getting is not really me.
Yeah.
So, or it would be me, but it's not. It was me watering myself down to where you wanted me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we gotta eat. We can go out to eat. But do you have to knock me every time just because if I were to get a drink at that time, which I don't drink at all no more, but if I were to get a drink and I drink a little bit of it, you gotta knock me for not finishing my drink.
Yeah.
I haven't ever, and this is just me, I haven't ever, and this has just always been there. I'm not a strong drinker.
Right.
That's why it was easy for me from 2021 to just stop even drinking wine. I used to like drinking wine.
Yeah.
Because wine isn't, as they say, it's bad for you. It's actually good for your blood, all these other health benefits. But I didn't even let that go.
Yeah.
Haven't had wine since, 2021.
See, that's the thing about, any type of relationship with friend, family, whatever. I'm not too fond of people want to downplay somebody for not doing the same thing that they do.
Right.
Like we can be totally different people and still be the best of friends.
Exactly. That goes back to a story where my dad, he had a best friend that had died, and they had two different lifestyles.
Yeah.
But him and my dad respected each other. Every time when he was about to do, he was more street life. Every time when he was about to do what he had to do, he would always tell my dad, like my dad would always tell me, he'd be like, go home now.
Yeah.
Because this is not for you. And that's a respect factor there.
Oh, yeah,
because it's like, even though I'm about to do something, I'm not fixing, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to graduate college, you're doing this, you're doing that, military. going on.
Right.
Go home. This is not your place.
Right.
I don't want you getting caught up in it. That's a real friend right there.
And I can respect it.
Like, even though I'm going to do what I do, I don't have to take you with me because of what you're doing. I see you on something different. I see you not on this. So let me go on. Just do you. I get it with you after the fact if I don't be in jail type of situation. So I can respect that, and I can see why when that friend died, and I remember him going to the funeral, I see why, it hurt him. Because, I mean, to me, that's a real friend. Like, we both two opposites. I'm street. Your dad was more educated.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, he didn't make it to where he didn't have no jealousy in him.
Right.
No, nothing. He wasn't jealous of my dad. He wasn't, nothing. He was just like, that's my man. Like, right. He did his thing in the military. So, yeah, that's the type of friendship that you would want.
Right.
And that's kind of friendship I want. We're gonna be different. I'm not expecting nobody to like the bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, being that you don't like the bookstore, but you would take me to the bookstore, or we would have a once a week meet up and we go to the bookstore.
Right.
I can respect that.
Right.
Because when me and you go out to eat and I know you like to drink, or if it's your birthday or something, I'm not going to have no problem going to the liquor store and buying you, a basket and putting your favorite drinks or whatever in there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, like, we just got to like what Megan like. No,
right.
We can be different, but respect those differences by still watering those differences. Yeah, exactly. That's what's going to make the friendship grow. Don't sit there and just be like, you like this? I don't really like that. Yeah. So I'm just not gonna take her there, because it leads to a point where I'm just like, I'd rather just not go out to eat with you, because every time you're gonna be knocking because I don't drink, I don't do this, I don't do that, yada yada yada. Yeah. So it's like we both are basically having to hide a piece that has made us us. Right. Although I don't think drinking has ever made anybody who they are. So that's the big difference.
Yeah, that's a form of drug too.
That's an addiction. Yeah. So it's like with me, I like what I like, and I have watered it down for people. They didn't even realize like that was my identity, but it was something I spoke on a lot. Yeah. So how is it? Like someone be like, "Oh, I didn't know you like that," and sometimes they didn't know I like certain things. Yeah. Why? Because you bypass it. Right. you swipe it to the left because you don't want to deal with it. You don't like it.
That's one thing personally I don't ever want you to do is water yourself down for anybody, not even myself. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I've watered myself down too.
Yeah, so that's not something you or nobody else need to do, because that's taking you away from you and what.
And that's the reason why in those situations I ended up being so lost, because lost as to who I am, because anybody that know, like, okay, the father shapes the identity for a child. That's why it's detrimental for a father to be in a child's life. Oh yeah, and a lot of people do not realize that. Oh my God, I'm here to attest to that. So for you people that don't believe, and don't get me wrong, we mothers, we strong, we got it. We can raise up a child, but their father though.
Need to be there.
Man, when I tell you May the 6th at 12:40 a.m. when she called and told me that my dad was gone at 12:22 a.m. that killed me. That broke my heart. So when him dying, that slowly took away that's the reason why I still have to go back and read his cards and his letters. Yeah. To remind myself a piece of myself, because that person died too. Yeah. It's like that whole person died, and when she was trying to like reach out to certain people that was portraying like I could trust, it was all left from there. Yeah. So it was like, So COVID happened, and I had to slowly start. Really, I had to let myself like just. And I mean, you know, I had to let myself just go through the dark.
Yeah.
Just very dark. Just, like, just sit and think about my actions over the years, things I had done, people I was around. Just, I had to think about all that. And it was like, man, like, who the hell am I?
Yeah.
Like, where is that? Who was I before I lost my dad?
Right.
Like, who was I? And I started having to piece it all together because I had given so much to everyone, people, including you as well. Just, I had given so much to just everyone around me that it's like, okay, this is Megan. Megan gotta find Megan.
Right.
So it's kind of like becoming your own friend again, but at the same time revealing stuff. The biggest things about me that have not changed is I love books. All the books right here. Still got tons upstairs. I love pens, which they over there on. Yeah, I got like 1 million pens, and I love notebooks. I love journals.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I can check. That hasn't changed.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just a part of me. There are some things that have changed. Because that part of my identity is no longer there.
Right.
Like, yeah, a lot has changed, and I just went through a whole spiral of just basically trying to find myself and just doing stuff, just doing this, doing that, doing whatever. And then COVID happened, and I had to slow down and like slowly start doing a mind's playing a game, a puzzle to get back to who I am. So,
yeah.
And the thing is, bringing it back to friendship. When I started doing that, see how quiet it is. That's exactly what it was. I didn't have nobody coming and sitting and being like, "You okay? You dark or this and that." And it's not like I didn't tell nobody. I told people I'm in a dark place right now.
Yeah.
You know, every now and again, pop call, check on, whatever. And then, you know, some may be like, "Oh, well, you didn't call and check on, you know, you wasn't calling me either."
You're in a whole dark place.
I'm in a whole dark place.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the surface to breathe. You're on the surface. You're on a boat.
Yeah.
You know, you might be going through your own stuff too, but you're at least breathing. I'm over here silently dying.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even just pull up and give me a life raft. So you want me to sit and constantly contact and reach out to you and letting you know I'm in a dark place. Why? So you can go and talk to others about it. So I got to the point where that was a good thing for me because it made me start relying more on God.
Right.
And I started telling him, someone who wasn't gonna run and talk about me behind my back,
Right.
or go and be like this and that. Oh, this is what she get, yada yada, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
With venting to God, talking to God, and basically making him a friend. So
definitely gotta have a friend in God, no matter what.
Yeah, he's gonna be that one.
On a realistic aspect, I know. How many years has it been since you lost your dad? Was it?
This year would be 8 years.
8 years. Okay. Now, since then, I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're like a million piece puzzle.
Yeah.
Within that million piece, where are you now? Trying to get back to yourself. It could be a percentage wise or whatever. But
I would say maybe 20-30%. Not fully there, because I still have my days. I still have my days where I'm like, who the hell am I? And like I said, as much as we mothers want to take that and be like, I did this for my child, the father wasn't there, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. First of all, let the father be there.
Right.
That's first things first.
Right.
I'm not saying it's for all. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but a lot of
Yeah.
I seen it firsthand. You let the father be there for one. Don't be up here keeping the child away. Mm-hmm. First things first, because you might be keeping them away from somebody. Just because I'm put it out there. Just because their father don't love you, that does not mean that he's not gonna love his child.
Right.
And don't try to water seeds in that child's head.
Exactly.
About him. It's not about you. Exactly. It's not about you. Don't be sitting up there calling the father names in front of the child, trying to make the child hate them, trying to do this or trying to do that and sabotage it. Why? Because that child grows up. The child grows up, and I can attest to that. You make the child resent you for that.
Right, and that can also alter the relationship that the child have in his life too.
Yep,
his or her life.
Yep, it can it also alters it, and this is coming from anybody that wants to sit and be like, yeah, where's that coming from? It's coming. For me, it's coming deeper because I was that child.
Yeah,
I was that child. I was what I call it being a pawn.
Oh yeah.
I was a pawn. Basically, and what the reason why I call it a pawn is because you're using your child as a pawn to get back at a man, but you're really hurting the child.
Oh yeah.
The child ends up hurt from all this, like it messes you up too. So yeah, that's why I say, let this father be a father.
Yeah.
If he was no good to you, don't take it. If he's being there for the child, showing up for the child, let him show up for the child. Let the child formulate their own opinion about it. We gonna see just like we gonna see with you too.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But the worst thing is coming back seeing that, man, I had a father that really loved me, and you hated him that much. That you wanted to change my views of him.
Right. That I now don't have a relationship with him that I could have had.
That you could have had.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also try to have this relationship like as soon as possible. You don't want to be sitting there looking like, oh man, my father's gone and I should have done better with the relationship. Because that's the problem. We think like, oh, we got the time. I do better. I'll contact him tomorrow, next week, whatever. And then he dies tomorrow. Yeah. Now you're left with, what if I could have had a better relationship with my dad?
Right.
So, like I said, we mothers, don't get me wrong, like Daniel. Daniel takes away stuff from me too. Our son Daniel, he takes away stuff from me too. Don't get it twisted. We have our role, but we need to understand the father's role. It's something powerful. That's the reason why God put him as the head.
Right.
It's something powerful about them fathers.
Right.
Can't lie. Because, no offense, just being 100% real. It's something about, like, growing up for me. If I would have heard, oh, we're going to call your mom. Okay. This is exactly how I'd be. Oh, okay. Good luck with that. So, but the second, oh, we're going to call your father? Hold up. You know what? I'd rather take ISS.
Yeah.
When can I go today? Yeah. Because you call him up here, and the second I see that Porsche come on that lot, I'm fixing to run.
Right.
Because he going to come in there, and he not going to play.
Right.
So, and that reminds me of with Daniel when I go up to his school, when he thinks he's in trouble about something. And when he see me, it's like, I want to run to you, but my mama don't play that. So, it's something about them fathers.
Yeah.
And, and I'm thankful for the fact that whatever is the case with what he left behind that I put out there for Daniel is different than what us typical mothers do. Because yes, that is my baby. Don't get me wrong, it's my baby. I go to the...
But you don't baby him.
I don't. That's one thing you can vouch for. I do not baby Daniel. Like, that's my baby. That's my baby. Don't get me wrong. It's my only child. That's my baby.
Yeah, but I think he be more under me than you.
When Daniel's sick, yeah, he know to go to you. Because when he get to throwing up, Megan don't do throw up. But here's the kicker, and that has gotten better for me because we're having a child.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple times I've had to clean up his throw up off the floor, and it's like, dang, what is going on? Like, what? And I mean, so anything is possible. God makes anything possible.
You see the dynamics of the different relationships that you have, and also not just the relationship, the closeness of it. Mm-hmm. What type of, like, one cousin can get a different reaction than the other cousin because you may be closer to this cousin than this cousin. Right. So it's like the relationships
and that's something, and that's just like the nurse at his school. She always be like, "All right, Daniel, I'm gonna call your mother," because for one, we 1 minute away.
Yeah.
Daniel know if I gotta come up there and you acting up. Yeah. Second, she be like, "I'm gonna call your mother." He straightens up. Yeah. How many of us kids be sitting there like, "Oh, we're gonna call your mother or your grandmother," and they just be like, "Man, please, whatever."
Yeah. A lot of them.
But it's something about that father when you threaten to call that father. It's like,
Yeah.
I know it was for me, but
when I show up and I get that voice.
Daniel do not like that voice when he gets stern. He get to crying like a little girl. Like he do not. That boy do not like that voice. But he's not no stranger to discipline. I will say that because he know all his nerves got to do is be like, when he get to cutting up with her, I'm gonna call your mother. Yeah. His teachers know, I'm gonna call your mother. Daniel ship. He ship up. Cause he know I'm gonna come up there. I'm not gonna play with you. You my baby, don't get it twisted. But my baby ain't fixing to be out here being disrespectful. So like, don't get me wrong. We mothers, we do it. We even the mothers that are single that have to do it. And I'm not speaking on the mothers that ends up with a deadbeat father, a legitimate deadbeat father, not the one they're painting to be a deadbeat father. I'm speaking on the ones who have like legitimate deadbeat like fathers. They don't want to do nothing, yada yada. Kind of like Meet the Browns, where he didn't want to be there for the son, and then when the son goes pro, he shows up. So I'm talking about them type of fathers. Yeah. I'm not, but that man, when I tell you, fathers make a difference. Like fathers make a huge difference, and I saw it firsthand being a child who actually opened up and had a relationship with her father, despite what was being told about him. Yeah. And despite the things that I've seen, some of it aligned, some of it portrayed like it was true. And that's what started relationships for me to bring it back to friendships and stuff. That's why I'm speaking on it. It ultimately is your relationships start with first God, but also with the parents that he blesses you with. It talks about that in Ephesians, in the book of Ephesians, about how a child is supposed to be with their parents. Yeah. So God makes the father the head, and it's funny because don't we call God the father? Right. So you got to think about that too. Yeah. So it's just something about them fathers, and I see it firsthand. And as a child, I see it with Daniel, and because another point. In schools, most teachers are female. Right. So when I was helping Daniel with his homework, he's not much receptive to me. You done been up on the women all day. Mm-hmm. He's not, for whatever reason, not very receptive. The second when Tim started helping him with his homework, working with him, his grades did a 360. Grades did a 360. To where now, I do a little bit with you, but I let your dad take care of that because that's where he's used to. Right. And it also puts him in shape. Now, when them grades, I know when he got happy this past semester, and he got his alien toy and his predator toy because we told him if his grades had to come up before he got them, he shot them grades up. Yep. So don't think your kids don't know; they know. And it shot all the way.
Everybody got their own pace of learning and everything. Right. But these kids ain't though.
The kids are not dumb. Oh my god. And I get tired of, that's another aspect. I get tired of people trying to make it like preserve the kids' innocence. Okay. Yes, we do preserve their innocence, but does it make you a negative parent for being real with them? Because my dad was real with us. And it's easy to look at, like, you know, he was military. My dad was Navy. He was military. He was blunt with us. But for me, that was more helpful than sugarcoating it. That's just like me going out there taking some dog poop and putting sprinkles on it and portraying like it's a chocolate sundae. It's still gonna smell like crap. So why am I gonna sit here and feed Daniel that, and he still smells the crap?
Right.
Mommy, that don't smell good. You still smell it. But, you know, that's something that, because there was a lot of people that kind of didn't understand me and my dad's relationship because of how we used to talk to each other. But
oh yeah, I admire that relationship.
Yeah, that was my best buddy. Yeah, like people be kind of like, some people like, you know, I wouldn't tell my child that that's negative. How positive is the world? So basically, this is what I think of when I hear people say, don't, because me, I'm a realist. I'm gonna think realistically. Do I think idealistically? Yes, I do. Because idealistically, do I want to be like how I am with my siblings? No, I don't. But I had to create a boundary there because I'm the one who keep being disappointed. You see what I'm saying? So you have to, you can be idealistic. Don't get it twisted. I am very idealistic. I mean, I write stories. Have a creative mind. Right. However, I am real. You can't sit here and keep putting poop and sprinkles together and telling me that that's not crap. I smell it. Right. And that's what I think of people when they be like, "Oh no, don't be negative." So you want me to protect from telling my child this now, versus when they go out there and see the world and then they're shell shocked.
And I read a lot of stories about my parents were this way with me. They sheltered me or they taught me this.
And they go out there and be buck wild and find out the world.
Get in the real world.
And they lose.
They lose their mind. They don't know where to go. They lost. They trying to find their own way. And it's like, hold up. Let me. Can I go back to my childhood and tell my parents, like, this is not the way?
Yep.
Like,
you painting a false picture. That's just like Daniel. He knows Santa Claus, but he's not like to the point where Santa Claus is gonna be the one buying me the gifts. No, he's coming up to us and being like, I want this, I want that. Why? Because we are Santa Claus. So he already gets that. It's like,
we ain't gonna like, can we make Santa Claus some cookies? No,
you can make the cookies. We can make the cookies.
We just gonna eat them.
Right. He already grasped that concept at 6 years old. Like, oh, it's Santa. But mommy, when you gonna get me the alien box? Right. Okay, so you grasp that. So and I think society has made it that way. Like, it's like they want to sell a dream. They feel like a parent they done sold the whole, you can't be real with your kids. You can be real with them, just deliver it in a way that is best for your child. Yeah. Like, just deliver it in that best way, because, like, kind of like with the Santa thing, he done watched enough over the years growing up, he done watched enough stuff, and you think they don't pay attention to what they watch, and they do. He done seen enough stuff to see that we do not know fat Caucasian white man with a beard. He knows that.
Just like you just lost both of your teeth.
Lord bless it. I'm so glad them teeth came out. Although it was good for me, because if you wouldn't have been here, we would have
right on out.
Man, we would have called 911.
But the thing about it, when I was a child, when I lost my teeth, the first one I lost, told me put it under my pillow. Woke up the next morning, it was $1 under my pillow. Okay. The second one I lost it, did the same thing. Put a $1 under my pillow. Next thing I know, I'm throwing something in the trash. What is that? That's my tooth. Why is it in the trash? Why is my tooth in the trash? They couldn't do nothing but be real with me. So it's like, yeah, we're not gonna keep that narrative going.
We're not right. We're just being 100% real with him. Like he knows the Grinch. He loves Alien and Predator. And then here's another factor too. He likes Freddy Krueger.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I think we was at school, and he was actually, Lord, oh my God, he bust out singing the Freddy song. And she was like, "You let him watch Freddy Krueger?" I'm like, he's not scared of it.
Not scared at all.
He's not scared.
Want to watch it.
He wants to watch it. And I know me, when I was at that age, I used to want to go in the living room with my brother and sister and watch scary movies. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how am I going to knock him for doing something I did at 3 and 4 years old? So, he's watched them with me. Freddy is actually one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. Like, Freddy, I mean...
You can watch all of them. Freddy, Jason,
all of it. He liked Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
So, and she was like, "You actually let him watch that? Man, my child would be so..." And the first thing I asked her, I said, "How are you?" I said, "So you don't like Freddy movies?" She's like, "No." I said, "Of course.
That's why.
That's why your child don't like
it." Yeah, man, I used to love them. My mom used to, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to.
No, because we feed our children.
Right.
And they also can pick up on us. That's just like Daniel. Oh my God. Kind of like that day when he showed me that spider. Don't do that again in your life. Like you almost caught one. I have arachnophobia. I do not like spiders, especially the big hairy ones. Do not show me that. If you wanna start a war with me, tarantula.
When I had that tarantula at the reptile show, you was
I was all the way. He held a baby tarantula. I did not care. I was all the way by the exit. You gonna know.
But my thing is, how do you not like tarantula? I get it. You don't like spiders, but
I don't like worms either.
I had that big snake on me.
I love snakes.
And you was like that.
I love snakes.
I don't like the baby snakes.
Baby snakes kind of get me too, because there's too many of them and they kind of look wormish to me. I don't like them. Kind of like the baby snake we had found in our backyard. He was a little too small. So I didn't. But I like snakes. The real ones. I get it. I like the real snakes. So snakes don't bother me like that. But probably because I like dinosaurs. Daniel like dinosaurs, which is probably why he keeps saying he wants a snake.
Right.
After a while, for me, I started realizing, okay, I'm never going to see a dinosaur. These things are extinct.
Right.
So I started liking alligators. Love alligators. If I can get a baby alligator, I would. If I can get, matter of fact, a caiman. They don't get that big. If I can get a caiman, I'll take the caiman.
Yeah.
Walk him around the neighborhood and everything. Just keep your dogs inside, because if he's hungry and I ain't fed him yet, sorry. Not sorry. So, I mean, I'm there. I love animals. And I do. But I do not like worms. I don't like centipedes. I don't like millipedes. Spiders, I don't like spiders either. If you want to start a war with me, that's one way to do it.
And the thing about it, I don't like spiders either. But holding that tarantula, like,
I don't care.
It was something different about it.
It was something different about it. What was he doing? Whispering in your ear? Sweet little nothings. Oh, I'm not gonna bite you, even though my mouth is right down here where I could bite you.
But how long did I hold him for though?
I don't know. I was by the exit.
It was like maybe a couple seconds.
And what did he feel like?
Just hairy and love.
Ugh. See, if you want to start a war, I promise you, like that would be a war for me. Like I would write the president and tell him we need to create a whole war against yada yada yada. Because I cannot do it. But what did I say that one time? I said if Daniel seriously wanted a spider, keep it in his cage. Don't ever let me see him. Don't ever let me see him, because I will seriously. You'll come home. You'll find him loose outside. Like no.
Trying to recreate Home Alone.
However, no, I know for a fact he won't. He ain't gonna want no spider like that.
Nah.
Snake. He wants a snake. I'm all for getting a snake.
Yeah, you gotta test that theory too.
What theory?
But I know he held a snake when he was a baby, but we build him up from the start.
Yeah, we'll do a ball python. Now the big snakes, but I'm not a fan of those as of yet. I love them. Don't get me wrong, love them. But as far as having one personally, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
you're not gonna have.
It's been a couple of years since then, so it's like, how would he be with a snake now? We gotta test that theory.
Yeah, we definitely would have to. Yeah. I'm not opposed to having a snake. I actually wanted a snake myself, so him wanting that could be something to look into for March, or look into at the reptile show, because I would want to buy a ball python from a reputable breeder.
Yeah.
Because these places be sending reptiles. When y'all send these reptiles, sometimes you sit there and say, "Oh, it's just a python." Darn thing grow 20 feet and it's a reticulated python. You was right about it being a python. You just didn't tell me that it was gonna be a python that could eat me. And I'm not trying to have him sizing me up.
Now, I know there's people that like snakes. There's people that don't like snakes. There's people that like dogs that don't like dogs. Cats that don't like cats. What is your relationship with these particular animals?
Oh, growing up, I had cats. I had guinea pigs. I had rabbits. My relationship, the reason I love animals is because there's something different. Like, there's something different. You can put two parents together and a child, and you can see where they made that child.
Right.
Or you can pull up their genealogy or their ancestors and see that this child looked like somebody here.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, you might look like your great-grandfather on your dad's side.
Right.
Something of that nature. An animal, they're different. But one thing I love about animals, they're very intuitive and they go by instinct.
Right.
Cats, I like cats for a different reason. Sometimes I be wanting another cat. But I think, like when we had Tigger, when he's doing all that clawing and scratching, Daniel got turned off by the scratching too, and that's something hard to get used to. I know you can declaw him and everything, but that's taking away the defense mechanism. Right. If he get outside or something, he's not gonna be able to defend himself, and I'm not fixing to do that.
Now, my bad, I don't mean to cut you off, but my relationship with cats per se. My mom and my stepdad, they did not like cats at all. They absolutely
because they scratch.
Hated them.
That's what a lot of people don't like them for, is because they scratch, but that's their defense mechanism.
Right. And my mind state back then is like, I didn't hate cats, but it's like I kind of had to conform to not liking cats because in that household.
Right.
So now at the age I am now, when we got that cat, I wasn't opposed to it.
Yeah, he used to be laying on you. He used to be cute though. I used to give him that, but when that little dude get at night, he get to screaming, hollering. He don't see you. That's why I said if I was to do another cat, I would do two.
Yeah. So when he scratched me that time, it's like, dang, he scratched me, but I didn't really get mad.
Yeah.
Because I know that's a thing that they do.
That's what they do.
Even dogs scratch.
They do.
But when they jump up on you, so it's like
And dogs. Well, cats, the reason theirs hurt more is smaller. Their claws are smaller. Sharper. Yeah, they're sharper. Yeah. Their claws is sharper. Whereas you can make a dog's kind of dull. Yeah. But yeah, theirs are sharp.
Even Akita, Kimono, she scratched me.
That disobedient dog. She has no obedience.
Yeah, I had dogs all my life growing up, so when it comes to snakes, that's new to me. Cats, that's new. That tarantula I had, that's new.
No.
And even we explored ducks.
Yeah, we've had ducks was actually for me and a mental health thing, which could be a challenge to somebody.
Right. You gotta fear.
If you got a fear, try it. No one, okay. And I guess this is a phobia I actually played very good with. No one knew that I have a terrible phobia of birds.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Birds was another one. Worms, birds. Birds used to creep me out. So ran across some cute little ducks, baby ducks at Tractor Supply. Bought them, raised them up until they got on down that road like Dorothy. They flew on. They went on their way. So raised them up to full adult ducks. Like that was a big thing for me. Like I'm sitting here letting this bird fly to me or peck or like getting in my hand. Yeah, like eating at my hand. That was a big thing for me in my mental health because this is something I've always been scared of. Now you might ask the question, is it gonna work for spiders? Hell no, don't go there. So let's just kill that theory too. I know people are gonna be like, yeah, you should go like try it with spiders. No, there's just some things that's just not you.
Right.
And a spider is that. Like, if there was a spider on that wall, we're gonna have to replace the whole wall because I'm shooting the wall because he got to go. There's no need for something that big.
Right.
And I can't remember what spider it is, and it freaked me out in my science book in middle school. I think it was a wolf spider.
Yeah.
Where they had that big, they're long right here, and then they had them beady eyes, and they just be looking. Kill it.
See, I don't.
Whew.
See, the thing with the spider, the thing with me with spider is the spider bites, and what they can do to you, what they can do to your skin.
Talking about
Black Widow.
Brown recruits.
Yeah.
Not those are the venomous ones. That's why they do that.
Okay, so I mean, I don't really know too much about spiders.
I know about them. I just don't like looking at them.
Yeah, I don't want no spider neither.
And that's something else. Like with me, like I love animals. I studied animals even growing up. I studied animals and I studied mental health growing up a lot.
Yeah.
So
that could be another podcast. But growing up, I also had a rabbit, even though somebody ate it. So when we had got our rabbits, it's like, okay, I have very little recollection of my childhood rabbit.
I liked it having rabbits. The only one that was weird, that was crazy as hell, and I would not buy another one, is an albino.
Yeah, albino. Yeah.
I had an albino one that had gray ears. She had those pink eyes. I called her Miss Quincy.
Yeah.
She was. And one thing when you breed an albino, and because our first two rabbits, which was my brother's, was all black with gray feet, and mine was black and white. I called him Oreo. Oreo was my first heartbreak. When he died, like that hurt me.
Right.
Yeah, I was hurt by that.
Now I would take a scratch from a cat over a scratch from a rat.
No.
Them things hurt, and they.
Well, yeah, they dig, but no, I wouldn't. I don't want either one.
True.
I don't want either one.
True.
But cats do sting more. They sting more, but rabbits dig more. So it's.
And that's probably come from not really having too much interaction with the cat other than the one that we had.
Right.
And he only scratched me like one time. But them
he scratched me that time where. Well, it's gone now, but the time he scratched me and I had that blood going down my hand, that kind of made me like, okay, you reminded me why the hell I ain't got no cat in a long time. Yeah. But I had to realize when the printer came on and started doing the paper, it spooked him.
Yeah.
So he got scared. Cats do that. Sometimes they get scared and their first mechanism is to claw.
Right.
So when people talk about, oh, I don't like cats because this, and this, and this, you gotta, you gotta think about their defense mechanism as an animal.
Yeah. A
cat is going to scratch.
Right.
That's what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
That's automatically what a cat is. A cat is gonna scratch or it's gonna bite.
Right.
And it's gonna hiss.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they defend themselves. A dog, they growl.
Right.
Their tail gets stiff. Their body gets stiff. They bite.
Right.
It's common sense. Once you understand those things, you don't get wrapped into something of being like, oh, I hate this animal because of this.
Yeah.
Why do you hate the animal? What has it done to you personally?
Mm-hmm.
There we go doing something that we do with people. You don't even know this person. That's something that we do, and that's kind of like where you brought up the reason why you conform to not liking cats.
Right.
We as parents, we tend to push that off on our kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like with Daniel, if he ever wanted a tarantula, which like hell he better not. If he ever wanted a tarantula, that thing, keep the spotlight on him, make sure he don't ever get out. he would have to be tucked back here in the room with a cage around him with a lock or something.
To be honest, I don't think he would ever want a spider.
Yeah, because he's not gonna be able to do nothing with it.
Yeah, not because of how we feel about it. Cause I mean, we not really.
I'm not opposed to it. I hate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say I hate spiders. They just creepy to me. Yeah. They're really creepy. I don't even like crabs because they look like sea spiders.
Yeah, cooked crabs. I love them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Crab meat. But looking at one, kind of like the time we bought them live crabs, I was freaking out the whole ride home because I'm hearing them clawing and I'm like, oh, I hear them. And then you picking them up and they just, I'm like, oh my God, my body.
I'm from Virginia.
Well, bless it. I'm from California, so we don't do that. We eat them while they cook.
We both come from the sea.
We come from the sea. One just realer than the other. Bless it. But, like, if he wanted a spider, I'm not going to solely take that away from him, which I doubt he will because he can't interact with it. Yeah. He's not going to. That's something I know about my child. Like,
you don't even like, he get all like this when I'm doing my hands like this.
Right, so he's not going to like the fact that that's all the spider's going to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that. But am I inflicting my views of not liking spiders on him? No.
One thing you do love is dogs.
He do love dogs.
Yeah.
He love Yuki, but Yuki just don't. Yuki and Kimono just don't do enough for him. So that's why we're looking for a Cane Corso. Anybody slide it? Yeah. Them dogs there, amazing. And I know he'll have fun with that because they're trainable.
They'll show him how, like, you can have, a dog can have discipline. So it's like, the differences between a dog and a human being having discipline. Sometimes a human being have to have self-discipline. Yeah. Where a dog, you got to train them.
You got to train them. You train them up in the way they should go, just like it says in the Bible with a child.
Right.
So, and that's something that I love, and that's another reason I love animals. Like, that's another part of me that some people will label as weird, because some people I come across, they might be into a specific animal, but I love animals to where I studied them, self-studied them. And in college, I took animal behavior.
Right.
So that's why, like, that time when we went to the reptile show and the king snake, I knew he was gonna bite you because of how the snake was looking and what he was doing. I was like, he about to bite you. Yeah. That comes from that, and it's kind of like the same with people in relationships. And the reason I love animals is because they're simple. Mm-hmm. For one, they're very simple, and their instinct is just on point.
I love the loyalty of a lot of animals.
I love the loyalty of animals too.
Like a person finding a wild cat and raising them over as a baby.
Yeah.
And then setting them free into the wild or whatever.
Or enclosed wild place. Yeah.
And then they come back years later and that big cat, like a full lion or something.
Bless y'all for
and
that.
They hugging on them and all that.
Playing with because they recognize that scent. Me personally, I don't know who taught me this. Maybe it was my dad. I would play dead because I don't. Every time, like, I would just mess around and play dead because I'm like, this man might eat me. They like the thrill of the hunt.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like play dead. Yeah. So just to make sure you don't get it twisted, thinking I'm a snack. Or you might be like wrong scent, and then that wild come out, you ready to kill me. Yeah. Let me play dead and make sure you feel out pretty good, but just don't step on my face. Just, But I mean, that amazes me too. Now, something that I would just this is a non-negotiable for me. I have to see a whale.
Yeah.
I have to see a whale outside of SeaWorld.
Right.
I'm talking about we on a boat and a whale comes up to the boat. That right there, that's something you write down. Like that would be amazing to me. I love whales. Like,
we definitely gotta take a trip overseas. I mean,
Germany.
I know we can do it over in California and everything, but
Germany.
Yeah.
I'm all down for Germany. we know how I feel about Germany. But
Ich bin Timothy.
Ich bin Megan. Or Ich heiße Megan. But yeah, I love whales. It's something about whales. Now I've been obsessed with them since I was a little girl.
Yeah.
Something about whales. I remember when my dad took us on his ship when he was taking command of the ship. And I remember just like looking as we walking up the little ramp to get on the ship. And I'm looking down like, what are we going to see? What are we going to see? We're going to see a shark. Right. Which we did end up seeing a shark. But I wanted to see a whale.
Right.
Oh, like a whale. Wow. Now that's the type of relationship, yeah.
Now, still on the topic of relationships, but you know.
I mean, all this correlates with relationships because it explains why I have a relationship with animals, why I love books,
right?
Why I love pens.
Now, the type of like what's that ride that go up and down?
Seesaw. That ain't a ride. That's a hot mess. Who invented the seesaw?
Now I know. I know a lot of people back in the day, they used to get on the seesaw and the other person would be up
and then they make themselves heavy and they come back down. They just rotate who goes up, who goes down, but I don't want that.
But yeah, that a friendship that balance it out, okay, I'm cool with that. But I'm not with the friends that actually get on the seesaw and make the other person go up and then they jump off the seesaw, make them come crashing down.
Yeah.
That's the type of relationship I don't want.
Me neither. For 2024.
I've been in those type of relationships like a lot.
For 2024, I definitely would not want no seesaw relationship.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest. Have I had seesaw relationships? Yes, I have. I've always been a person that I like see people at their best.
Yeah.
I can be in a dark spot and still heal you to being in a better spot.
Right.
Because in the midst of me helping you heal, I feel like as a boomerang that's gonna come back to me.
Oh yeah.
So we both can't be in a dark place.
Right.
But in the midst of me telling you something that can help you, it's gonna help me too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's me, and that's the type heart I have. We both can't be sitting here in a miserable spot.
Right.
So one of us gotta take the initiative to get us out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but me, when I was in my dark spot, I was sitting there by myself.
Yeah.
So it's like, who am I going? So I ended up just turning to God and he was the one who started turning on lights and stuff and everything. And some of those lights he turned on was on. He was like, "Hold up, you prayed that prayer back in 2021. Let me shine a light real quick right here."
Oh yeah.
And it's like, that's who gotta go. I'm not even fixing to fight it.
Right.
Because in some of those aspects, and something people need to be okay with in 2024 is letting relationships go.
Oh yeah.
Letting relationships go.
If it don't fit you.
I don't care if you've known this person since you were 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
People change, people grow. It's nothing wrong with you. It's nothing wrong with, I've been with this person. I've been friends with this person since 9th grade and we this and we that. It don't matter. If they not fitting where you're going, God gonna remove them anyway.
Right.
But if you don't want to remove them, they gonna tear down what God is trying to give to you.
Right.
So you're either gonna learn a hard lesson or you're gonna get a blessing by just being like, okay, whatever you take, it just is what it is. And eventually that's what I had to do. I eventually had to freeze, put my hands up and be like, okay, God, whoever you're gonna remove, even if I necessarily don't want to remove. Like some of the removals, after I prayed that in 2021, some of them could have been salvaged,
right? In
a sense, like looking at them, or me logically speaking.
Yeah.
Not many people like logic. They could have actually been salvaged with the proper communication.
Yeah.
And that's just being honest. But you also gotta consider the person. That's something God revealed to me too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, God, do I forgive the situation? Do I forgive everything? Yeah, I do. But it's like, if you feel like this could be salvaged, but I'm fixing to reveal the person.
Right.
So once I started seeing like this person lied and said this person said this, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Now you starting to make me look like I'm this type of person. That's been in you all along.
Yep.
So hold up, okay, God, I see why you did the sleep that you did. Okay, so at one point, because that's how I was feeling at one point, I'm beating myself up like, should I try reaching out to this person? Should I try this? Should I try, to get it back to where it was? And God, when you be still, Psalm 46:10, when you be still, He's gonna do what He gotta do. So every time when I do that, I notice I just kind of pull back and get quiet.
Now, one thing I noticed about a lot of people, like friends, family, whatever, they'll be cool with you, or they'll associate themselves with you when you in a certain spot.
Yep.
And soon as you start to pull away or start to grow, that's when they start to show who they are truly.
Yeah.
And they start to lie.
Sometimes it's already been there though.
Right.
Sometimes it's already been there.
It shows more when that person start to pull away or be to themselves.
And that's something I started realizing as well too. Because when God truly wants to heal you and start working with you and dealing with you, He isolates you.
Oh yeah.
And He will make it to where just certain things just don't work. Like certain things just don't happen. I started kind of like when I started being more on like personal growth, self-help, stuff like that. And self-help can even be for people that go to therapy. I mean, because you can't, and that's something I don't think people grasp. People are so quick to be like, I'm going to therapy. Okay, go to therapy. But when you go to therapy, you still got to do your part too.
Right. Yep.
But see, the problem is people get in the mindset of, I'm going to a therapist. Let me just solely, you think like you can just dump your problems and you go back and you go home. You ain't got to do the homework that the therapist may or may not be giving you.
That therapist is not God. Even if you have a friend or a family member that is like a therapist to you, you have your therapy session with that friend.
Yeah, my dad was my therapist.
Yeah, they still not God, because you still got to do your own.
You still got to do your own part. You still got to do your own part, and that's something that I think some people fail with when it comes to therapy, and that's the reason why, like, I tell people, go to therapy if you need to, but you still got to do your part. You still got to find what works for you, because you just constantly going to the therapist every week and you're not doing even what they're giving you to do.
Right.
What difference is them versus you trying something on your own? Have you tried everything you could before you went to the therapist, and you start I'm not going to say necessarily wasting their time, because they get paid to do that, but therapists need therapists too. Right. They need therapy as well too. Yep. You don't need to be sitting, and to me,
information from other people.
So. To me, you're wasting their time by coming to them, and you don't have the intention of doing the work yourself. If a therapist tells you, and this is the number one thing that I hear every therapist say, and I would love to hear a therapist that does not agree with this: journaling.
Right.
That's therapy right there. My therapist has always been my journal.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? Writing it out, writing out your emotions, writing out your triggers, writing out this, writing out that, blah blah blah. Okay, so if you go in it and you be like, well, I don't like writing. You just reject. So if you going into it with the same mindset, and a therapist sit there and tell you have some people that feel like they only want to listen to people that are accredited.
Yeah.
But if you go to a therapist and you don't even do what the therapy tells you, so what are you going for? You wasting that therapist's time, because in 6 months to a year, they're going to be expecting you to have made progress. But you coming and sitting on my couch in January and you still the same as you were last January. Not much has changed. Yep. Only difference is you wearing a different outfit.
Yep.
That's it. Different hairstyle maybe. Other than that, you still the same as you were in January 2023.
Yep.
You ain't made no progress. No. So now you wasting my time. You wasting that therapist's time. They get paid for it, don't get it twisted. But you wasting their time from somebody who really needs the help of that therapist. Right. So you occupying a spot for what? because you're not willing to do the work they even gave you. And you still got to find out what works, because even the therapist will be like, how about you? They'll put out things for you to try.
Yeah.
But if you go home and you don't, and you know, I see you back in 2 weeks and you tell me how they go and blah, blah, blah. But you ain't even trying them. You're not even trying it. Or at least you could do is find what works for you. That's why it's still self-help involved.
Yeah.
Like, people be like, oh, I don't do self-help. I just go to a therapist. Okay, but yourself is still going to have to do something, may it be from the therapist or not. Okay, I tried journaling. It didn't work for me. But I did try, when I found myself having a trigger, I found that when I write out my trigger, it helps.
Yeah.
That's still doing homework.
Yeah.
It may not be, it's still on the lines of what the therapist said to do. But and the problem is a lot of people they just don't want to do the homework. You don't want to find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So, in the midst of me finding out what worked for Megan and everything, like, I started noticing, like, when you wanting to heal, you can start seeing unhealed spots in other people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you also will see where y'all connected. I started seeing where we connected in some cases.
Right.
But I'm not fixing to stay here.
Right.
You wanted to stay here. Why? Because you done took your hurt and everything you've gone through. You done made it a part of your identity, so you don't want to let it go.
Right.
So that's what kind of, when I started realizing that, and when God started flipping lights on and stuff, oh, this person felt like this. Okay, say less. I got you, God. Okay. Yeah. I'm not all for reconciliation. If I see him in the streets, speak and keep going. It's no beef or nothing. It's just at first I was like, maybe I should try to reconcile this. God was like, wait a minute.
Right.
Hold up. Let me show you why, if you reconcile this situation, it's not going to change at this time. For one, he got to deal with them himself.
Right.
But they also got to be willing to let him in too.
Right.
So he's like, I'm taking you on a different route, but I'm going to put you here. So he'll sit you in the balcony on that mountaintop next to him. You sit next to him. He going to show you. He going to flip that light on and let you see a whole show of what this person was like.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I started being like, okay, so there's no line for reconciliation.
Yeah.
That's when I started building my relationship of being like, okay, I'm going to ask God about this. Let's see what he say.
Yep. Let
me go to God real quick. Let me ask God about this. And that's when he started flipping on lights, like, this person, even if you try to reconcile it, they're still not going to be a true friend to you. Right. It's just where it's at. Leave it.
Oh, yeah.
Until God changed them,
ain't nothing you can do.
There's nothing I can do.
Ain't nothing you can do.
Until God brings it to me, it's like, Megan, this is, if it's 10 years down the line and we see each other different and reconnect or whatever, okay.
Yeah.
Because it was ordained from him.
Right.
Anything outside of him, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
And the crazy thing is, quite a few of them use God.
Oh, yeah.
But
I was just about to
we
say
use him differently. That's something he revealed to me too.
Yeah.
He's like, you really trying to seek my face. Like, you really, like, kind of like one of my very first conversations I had with him. You was at work, Daniel was at school, and I was angry. I was washing the dishes, I was crying, I was pissed. I'm like, you took my dad away from me, you did this. Like, how could you? Like, how? Like, you done sat here, you done did this. Like, why would you do that to me? You knew that was the only family member I had. You knew this. And then you put these sorry people in my league. I was just going, I was letting it all out.
Yeah.
But once I let it all out, I felt better. Wasn't nobody gonna talk about me.
Right.
He wasn't gonna go and run and tell, like, Jesus, come here, let's talk about her. It wasn't gonna be like that.
Yep.
So I was like, that day I started feeling better. I felt like a weight had been lifted off.
And let me ask you this: what you talking to other people about the problem or whatever? Did they give you anxiety? And why did that anxiety come along? Because you didn't know who they want to tell, or
because I already had feelings that they wasn't. I already had feelings that it could go somewhere, but me needing to get it out my chest and trying to have faith and trust them. And
what does the Bible say?
You only gotta have faith in God.
Right.
But that day,
trust no man but God.
Trust no man. So I've done that a few times where I, like there's times where I'm driving and I just start talking to God and being like, look, and when talking to Him, people have this preconceived notion that you have to talk to God a certain way. No, you go to Him as you are.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Him as you are. That's the biggest thing I've learned, because in churches and stuff, they condition you as to how to go to God or whatever. God is like, I went to Him snotty nosed. I went to Him yelling. I went to Him like pissed. I'm talking about blatantly pissed.
Right. You ain't gotta be down on your knees.
You don't always have to be on your knees to pray.
Like you just like. Sometimes I'd be like, look, God, I know I talked to you about this. I kind of messed up on that, or I need your help with this or that. I need your guidance here today. But I just talk to Him regularly.
Me too.
It's not.
And there's been a few times, I can't even lie. There's been a few times I've cursed.
Yeah. Said
a cuss word or two, and He's like, but at the end I'll be like, yeah, sorry about that. But I'd rather, but I'm being real though. I'd be like, how did you let that? But at the same time, what does He want you to do?
He wants you to come to Him as you are.
He wants you to come to Him as He created you.
Right, He created
so you coming to Him being like, you know what, God? Like me going to Him, and I'm going to tell you this right now. This is going to be fake as hell. If I go to Him and be like, Abba, Father, Lord. No, let me tell you, God, Father. I call Him God, Father, Jesus. God. Like, there was one time I think I prayer journaled and I called Him Abba. I did, but me saying it, I haven't ever said it like that. It's always God, Father, Heavenly Father.
What?
Or whatever.
God, Lord Jesus.
Right. So So me doing that, there's me looking like them people in the synagogue that He talked about in Matthew. Don't be like some of them people who wants to get recognition for fasting.
Right.
Or praying in the streets in public. He rewards you for what you do in secret.
Yep.
So, that right there, that's what I started realizing. Like, some of them is like not really. They people are using God, but they're not really seeking Him like that.
Yep.
And I had got so low to the point where I had to revert back to what I know, and that was God. Not New Age, not no tarot cards. No tarot cards was not feeling me. So I'm sorry. Y'all can be pissed. Whomever, like if you believe in them tarots and all that stuff, that's you.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, that did not work with me.
All them crystals and everything, it was throwing my energy off.
It didn't work for me. As time went on, I started
And the thing about it, I didn't really get into it like that. But
you didn't go as deep as I did.
Yeah. And so
I had so much anxiety, like my head space, and don't. I just recommend you just go get you a Bible.
Right.
Get
and
you a Bible.
People use God and the church to cover up their own demons and their own skeletons in their closet.
And pass judgment on people well.
Yeah.
Because, and that's something kind of like with what I was saying with them. And I'm not saying like I'm any better than them. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like I'm seeking God for real.
Right.
Whereas y'all speak on God, y'all go we all can go about our relationship differently. But at the same time, like you go to church every Sunday.
Right.
But you not going in depth into the scriptures, because if you go in deep, and that's something I started doing. When you go deep in them scriptures, you start seeing them differently. Mm-hmm. They do not read the same. And then as time has gone on, I start realizing like, hold up, did people really be taking these scriptures out of context?
Oh yeah, definitely.
They take it at a context. Like, My life scripture is Galatians 6:7-9. You reap what you sow. You sow to the flesh, you reap of the flesh. Mm-hmm. So that scripture is what it is.
Ecclesiastes for me.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes, yeah. That Ecclesiastes is another life scripture. That's my new life scripture. Yeah. Because everything is a season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so when you start, I started pinpointing like sometimes you using the Bible is your benefit. Mm-hmm. The Bible's supposed to read me.
Right. The Bible in church is supposed to put life into you. A lot of people use the Bible to like cover up. Oh yeah, God this and God is good, God is that. But the whole time, outside of church and behind closed doors, you doing some evil, devilish type thing.
That's where you need a heart check. I do those often. That's why I say the Bible is a book that can read you if you allow it.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
That's the reason why you have so many people that misinterpret it, because you're not going deep into it.
Yeah.
And like kind of like one of them that I knew, she relied so much. Go to the pastor. Don't question God.
I supposed to question God.
You can question God. Wants you to come as you are. I'm not going to question you, God. You're not okay. I kind of get what you might be saying. Like you don't question God, but you can question God.
I question him. Why this? Why I gotta do this?
I mean, like
I read stuff in the Bible and be like, what?
Right.
Like, huh?
There was time I read something in the Bible and I was like, God, hold up, technical foul. What you talking about?
I was like this. What?
That's because you reading that NLT. That's why you read that NLT and it said, "Let them in, so we can have sex with them."
Like, no.
Hold up. No. Wait a minute.
No.
So, yeah, the Bible's supposed to read you. There's a lot of, so when I got to that low place and I started seeking a genuine, like, relationship, like, on my face value, right. And there's a reason they say, seek God's face.
Right.
Because you seeking him as he is. Mm-hmm. You seeking yourself for who you are.
Right.
So, and going back to the father thing, how can we say the father don't hold the identity, mothers? Mm-hmm. Why? Because if our identity is in God, Father. Your earthly father help pieces together your identity as well. I know that firsthand, but that's the topic. Yeah. So, but yeah, so in the midst of me, like, seeking his face, seeking who he is, I'm asking questions when I'm reading, like, where is God in this passage? What is he doing in this passage? How is he? What in here displays Megan? And, some people be like, don't put yourself in the Bible. Well, how are we going to apply it to our life?
Yeah, you got to put yourself in the Bible.
Okay, so that's why one of the questions I asked is where is Megan in this passage?
Right.
Because Megan is somewhere in here. It's something for me to take away if I'm reading it.
Right.
And sometimes you might not take it away then. It might be days later.
Uh-huh.
But it's something for you to take away. Right. Every day, I haven't ran across anything that makes me like, well, yeah, I have.
Yeah, that's sometimes I'm reading about having money in the Bible. I know they say a lot, money is the root of all evil, which it is. It makes people do evil things.
Oh my Lord.
But having money per se does not make you an evil person, because we are blessed with the money and we use money to help others with along with, helping ourselves. But
to me it depends.
It doesn't make you an evil person.
And
do people
in the Bible it does talk about being rich?
Yeah, do people cross people to get to that level? Yes, all the time. But
money is honesty. Money is the root of all evil. Money does bring the ugly out of people.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. It really does.
Yep, it does.
But where does it say in the Bible God telling you don't be successful and have money?
Yeah,
That's what I know some people who are very just zoned in on having too much money or doing this or doing that, and God is gonna punish them because they got money and this. Sometimes you feel like some people feel like, oh, I can't, you know, you can't like this certain thing and like that.
It's crazy. Well, my thing is having money make you an evil person, or is that just the person themselves? Like that's the person's character that makes them do evil things.
When I hear those comments, I be thinking like, you just upset because you ain't got no money right now. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like in the Bible, don't get me wrong, because it talks about it in James too, about being rich.
Right. And that also goes back. What is your relationship with money?
That is true.
You see what I'm saying? Every relationship has to do with people, situations.
It has to do with everything. There's even a relationship with you and your identity.
Yeah, like
there's a relationship as to why I believe the way I believe.
Yeah.
Like me. Like me and my triggers. Like when it comes to me and my triggers, there's a reason why I have the triggers I have.
Yeah.
And something that they would tell people in therapy too. They always find out about your childhood first. Mm-hmm. Why? Because something in your childhood is 99.9% of the reason you sitting on my couch that day. But see, here's the thing. People want to sit and blame, oh no, it was this person that made me like this. No, get your shovel again. Let's keep digging. Right. Let's keep digging. Something that I learned over the years, and this was just common sense in my psychology background.
Yeah.
Is tying my trigger back to a childhood memory. Mm-hmm. When you do that, you find out where it first came from. It helps you deal with the problem better. So if I can sit and be like, I'm angry. Why am I angry with this particular thing? This just happened. Okay, this may have just happened, but it's a deeper reason why I got that angry. Mm-hmm. Let me go back. Oh, okay. This went back to that moment in childhood when I was yada, 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 yada.
I mean, even...
Now you can heal it better. But one thing I started realizing with those few in my circle, they knew more about what I had gone through in childhood, and they wasn't even telling me what they had gone through.
Right. Yep.
So in the midst of disputes of why you don't do this and do that or whatever, then they spew out something from their childhood, and it's like, I didn't even know that about you. But you knew I had a hectic relationship with mine growing up because I told you.
Right.
So how is it you expect me as a person to fully know you, and you're not even fully letting me? You're not letting me in, but I'm supposed to trust you, and what little bit, what I've given you, you reciprocated, you talked about it behind my back. So
they already got a negative or ill motive about it.
You already feel some type of way about it. So let me just, that's some of the reason why I come off I'm very protected and guarded now. Yeah. And just period. Like I pick and choose who I would tell my information to.
Yeah.
There's some people who I just won't talk to about certain things.
Yeah, too. There's people in the church that you know you're supposed to talk to.
True.
Like, I mean, not and there's some pastors that you don't tell your stuff to. No. Like, come on now, you gotta be real.
Right.
You know, so like, I mean, that's what it is. That's what
you always gotta consider the person. Period. And if I don't watch you long enough, I know what I can and can't share with you. Mm-hmm. I know what you can handle and what you can't handle.
You study the person's move, so
because kind of like one of the ones too where it's not like it was just. I mean, you just wasn't there in my darkness when I had been there for you on a lot of occasions.
Yeah.
You just wasn't there, but it's not. Now this one I genuinely don't have. Like it just kind of we just ain't got no words.
Right.
But it's mainly like a thing of you have a strict mindset that you want to keep.
Right.
You don't want to step outside your box.
Right.
I'm gonna do everything I can to get up out this box.
And they want to bring you back to that.
Right. So it's like a thing of you kind of want to stay in your mindset. You're not willing to grow.
Mm-hmm. And
so
I believe
can't
every
really.
Relationship is supposed to be motivational.
It is. It's supposed to be. You
not,
learn something
not draining. Not like what you call it, stagnant.
Yeah. So if you, I mean, like I said, this was one that I expected. Like, yeah, like this is my little, yeah, but it's like your mindset is what's gonna keep it there because I'm wanting to do some things different. You're still kind of wanting to stay,
right?
And that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
I'm not mentally there.
Yeah.
I'm not mentally where I was at, and you constantly, and don't get me wrong, I get it. You real close and tight knit with your family and stuff, but somewhere in there, you gotta branch and do your own thing.
Oh yeah.
And I see you not really doing that.
Yeah.
So how are we gonna grow?
Right.
Could we grow? Yeah, if you had an open enough mind. But God is gonna reveal like who he's gonna switch the light on, and that's basically what happened. Like he switched the light on, like, cause that was one of the ones I really questioned. Like, I thought they was this, whatever, blah blah blah. But as time went on, it's just kind of like a thing of we just not going down the same path.
Right.
It's not like it's just solely negative. It's just we not going down the same path. She still got some growing to do.
Right.
In some areas.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of areas. For one, you got to open your mind.
Right.
And so yeah, that's where that led to. And then two, you got to stop taking God as a joke.
That one.
That's the one really too. You got to stop taking God as a joke. 2023 was not for me, which any of my social medias you would not know. 2023 was not a good year. No. It wasn't a bad year either. 2023 just was one. It was like a heart rate. It was like a.
Yeah, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. Either.
It wasn't the worst either. It was one of them go betweens of like, okay, you done had some words, but all I know is some
but
like.
I know one thing: our relationship with God, He really showed up.
Man, He showed up in 2023. That was the biggest factor. I think 2023 was like God being like, you got back into my word. I stayed consistent in His word in 2022. I was on a Bible hunt for a Bible that would just, in translation, that would just help me grow.
A Bible hunt.
Shut up. But I picked my Bible up every day. That was the goal.
Yeah, you did.
And then in 2023, I just expanded on that. 2024, I'm expanding on even more. My goal is to take my Bible everywhere with me.
Yeah.
Even if I'm just going to the store.
Yeah. If
I get bored or something and I'm out somewhere, read that. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's another way of trying to grow it. So it's just a year elevation, but at the same time, He showed up.
Oh, yeah.
He showed up and showed out. And
I definitely cannot deny that.
He showed up. So that's something I kind of peeped too. Like you can't be back and forth with God. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna pray this, we're gonna pray that, and everything. But you really ain't. You portray a relationship with Him. And how do you think it's gonna work with portraying you have a relationship with Him versus someone who's genuinely trying to seek God for real?
Right.
God gonna be like, okay, they gonna lead you astray from me again.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something I prayed for too.
And that's
God protect me from any relationship that leads me from away from you again, because I don't want to go that route.
Right, and that's why I always say you gotta protect your own energy.
Yeah.
Because people will come around and try to implement their energy into yours, and it's like, it doesn't match where I'm trying to go. So.
And that's the reason why that's the reason I'm letting God pick my friends this year.
Yeah,
I'm letting Him pick what I do, where I'm letting Him pick it.
Mm-hmm. like God, okay.
Because I've already led myself astray from it and everything, and life went south.
Right.
So,
like, God, this person is trying to be cool with me. Like, show me a sign.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, like, I've had some conversations with some people. It's only one person that I would, as I'm slowly coming out of hermit in isolation, or basically having a better headspace to be receptive to the friend that he would have for me, is one that I feel like will probably be a good one.
Over.
Yeah, it's one that I feel like me and her conversated, and we had very similar childhood, very similar. Like, and I'm not saying that's just solely why, but she just like we both was like vibing at that time, but it was, I don't know if it was wrong timing or something, because that was when that whole scam situation happened and all that. So, and then the storm happened. So it was a lot that started going on that kind of deterred it. But that has been one that has crossed my mind, like, periodically, be like, that she would have been. She would be a cool one.
2023, it made me feel like I was taking 50 steps back, but in reality, God showed us, like, why you trying to walk backwards?
Yeah.
Stand still.
Yeah, God did. He showed up.
Like, you gonna take them steps forward. Stand still where you at.
And one thing that I noticed too, when you after you do stuff or anything pertaining to God, if you just be still for a second, He'll reveal it to you. Because that's ultimately what happened with those relationships. Was once I kind of just been like when I kept debating about like in early 2023 about the one in 2022, I was like, I just think it's feasible. I think that could have worked out. I think, yada yada. I think, and then God is like, no.
Yeah.
And I couldn't argue it. I tried.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm like, well, maybe it's just because of my childhood. Maybe it's because of my, my female relationships and yada yada yada, or how whatever. God was like, no.
Yeah.
And the key factor is no, because I know their heart.
Right.
When you hit that one and you know their heart, how can you argue?
Oh yeah.
Because I know you see it. I know you see their heart. I can't.
You see everything.
So I can't sit. Don't knock my books over.
I ain't gonna knock them over, no. God got me.
So when I started realizing, like, God knows their heart. Ooh. So I can't argue with somebody who knows conversations and was sitting in a place that I wasn't sitting in. Right. All I'm doing is just sitting over here, just getting somebody to stitch up my back.
Yeah.
Which is Jesus. He's the one stitching up those wounds.
Oh yeah.
So so when he starts pulling somebody, it's like, oh, okay. I don't even try to argue with God. Like, do you? Yeah, I'm not saying do you, like, do you, but He's gonna do what He do. So do you?
Yeah, you definitely can't argue with God, and
you can question Him. You just
I
mean, I've tried.
I mean, sometimes sometimes I have argued with God, like, why?
I have too. I argued with Him about my dad.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't take your blessings away.
No, it doesn't.
So I don't understand why people be like, you don't question God and everything. It doesn't.
They make it like it's a sin.
Yeah.
They make it like you cannot question God. Like, you question Him and all, He's gonna wreak hell on your life. Have you read your Bible? Have you read your Bible? What did David do? David was one of the blessed ones. Mm-hmm. He's in the lineage with Jesus. Mm-hmm. But
look at Jonah.
Yeah, Jonah. I read Jonah when I started seeing myself running.
See, Jonah was like, I ain't doing that, God. I'm going to
And God said, you know what? And the thing is, He put him in a fish. Well, they say a big fish.
Yeah. He's like, I'd rather die. Go ahead and swallow me. I'm going to sleep up in here. What? 3 days later.
3 days later.
He found out.
Well, he ended up realizing one thing. The key factor with Jonah that I paid attention to when he was laying on that ship and he told them to throw him overboard.
He was like, I'd rather die.
He's like, I'd rather die. Imagine this is my mental health tip for those of you who don't feel enough or feel like you want to die. I get it. Trust me, I do.
Yeah.